Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening. It's a great pleasure to see everyone taking time out of their busy schedule. So that's really appreciated. So today I have this pleasure to welcome a special guest from Florida, Sister Shireen. She has been practicing and teaching meditation for over 26 years. She is currently leading Brahma Kumari's meditation center in Tampa. So, one of her specialities is her creativity. She is amazing in writing. She's an author. She has authored several books and albums. She's also facilitating many workshops, meditation retreats, and she also is creator and presenter on TV shows. One of her popular show is Release Your Wings. So today she will be sharing her insights and wisdom on the relevant topic to our current situation in the world, which is transitioning to new normal. So, with that, I would like to invite Sister Shireen, and I would like everyone to join me in welcoming her. Sister Shireen.
Om Shanti, everyone. Good evening. I hope all of you are having a wonderful time up in Canada. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. I just want to ask a couple of questions before I get into the topic. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Sister.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Wonderful. So you can see me well, hear me well, everything is good. So Zoom is working. So today's topic, transitioning to a new normal. How many of you knew that that was the topic, or you just came for a good evening meditation? Can I ask questions? Can they unmute themselves, or should I just start the topic?
I knew that we are doing this topic today.
Oh, okay.
I was not aware of it. Actually, it's our routine class on Thursdays, but I got a surprise.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the BK is always the great surprises I have experienced.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
That's great.
One of the great sister we have always hearing, Sister Shweta. She's so tremendous speaker as well. So we were following her class as well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So
your series of release of wing was excellent. I mean, you can go on listening to that. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, are there more coming up in release of wing, or
some meditations? I need to do more. It's now the team has reduced, so I have to do the editing. It's a one-man show. I have to do the recording, the editing, and the posting.
I see. Okay.
So
Thank
sure,
you.
I've been doing some meditations.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to compliment on that. It was beautiful. It's a very nice series. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So today's topic, anyone else wants to share anything? Okay. So today's topic about transitioning to a new normal. I'm going to do one thing so that it's easy for you to remember. I'm going to talk about three main things. And in those three main things, I will talk 3 items each in the 3 things. And so it's easy for you to remember. So the 3 things that we need to transition to a new normal. So I don't need to tell you what's happening in the world, because we all can see what's happening in the world. and the fact that you're here and interested in spiritual things, interested in meditation, while you can do so many other things this evening, like another Zoom class, you're here. So that means that you really want to do this. And so because of what is happening in the world, I feel we don't have, it's not a luxury anymore. Spirituality is not a luxury anymore. I feel we all need this, and we all need to do a few things if we want to really thrive and flourish in the new normal. And so the three things that we need for sure, these are the main things, is we have to be witnesses or detached observers. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have to learn to be tranquil in turbulent times. When times are going up and down, we need to learn to be tranquil. There has to be tranquility. And the third one is we have to really be real. We have to connect with reality, especially because nowadays there is so much people trying to misconstrue what is going on and trying to tell you what is going on, that we need to be able to see reality very clearly. And so these are actually in order of what we need to do. They all three are very important. And then within the, like, let's say within a detached observer, I'll give you more steps. Within how to be tranquil during turbulent times, I'll give you more steps. And within how to connect with reality, I will give you more steps. So the first one is this aspect of being a detached observer. And so if all of you have been listening to the Brahma Kumaris, I'm sure Shwetaben has many times mentioned to you that we are spiritual beings. So even though we can only see the physical body, what it means is we can only see the costume that is on the soul, on the spirit, right? The costume is visible, but the actor or the soul itself is not visible. And so what happens is, because the costume is visible and the soul, the spirit is not visible, then we think we are the costume. For example, this costume is Indian female. And so if I keep going around thinking I am Indian female, then I'm really limiting myself. And so the way I limit myself, I'll give you an example. So it's not just a label, right? Because the year, make, model of this vehicle that is transporting the soul, it is not just about, it's not just, oh, what does it matter if I connect to being an Indian female? It's not just that. There are many other disadvantages that come about when we identify with the labels of the body. And so one of the things that happens is I buy into the limitations of that label. And so let's say I think of myself as an Indian female, and obviously that seems to be true, because that's obviously physically that is true, but actually spiritually that is not true. Spiritually, we are all spirits, we are all souls, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And so because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, we forget about spiritual beings and we get caught up in the human experience. And so when we say we have to be detached observers, what we have to do is we have to be detached observers of this spiritual experience. We have to be detached observers of the human experience that I'm having. And so to go back So let's say, oh, what's the harm if I think of myself as an Indian female, right? What happens is centuries of baggage and limitations that go with being an Indian female, that I buy into it because I'm thinking I am that. And so there is this example that we give for us in the Brahma Kumaris, and that is this: there was this man who was hypnotized, and he was hypnotized into thinking he was a buffalo, or a cow, or whatever. So a buffalo, he was hypnotized into thinking he was a buffalo or a cow, let's say. And so when he was asked, the man who was hypnotizing him asked the man who was hypnotized, I want you to leave the door, right? I want you to walk out of the door. And the man who was hypnotized as a cow, he said, but I won't fit in the door. I'm a cow. I don't fit in the door. So what happened is, so when you hypnotize yourself into thinking you're a cow, not only are you thinking you're a cow, but you are also buying into all of the limitations of being a cow. And that is true. You can ask any hypnotist, that's what happens. And so what has happened is we all collectively all over the world, we have hypnotized into thinking we are these bodies. And so we have collectively bought into this hypnosis, this mass hypnosis, the limitations of just being a label like gender, label like race, a label like color, nationality. So there's a mass hypnosis going on. And so the way to do this is we have to watch as a detached observer. And so when we say we have to watch as a detached observer, the first thing we have to watch as a detached observer is that I am a soul and this body is my vehicle. So I have to become aware of myself as a soul, and I have to watch this body as a detached observer. That's the first step in detached observer. I watch the body as a detached observer. So I want us to do this. I want you to take a deep breath in and out. Again, a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And when we think of ourselves as souls, as spiritual beings, I want us to visualize a tiny point of light, a small star. And this star is shining in the center of your forehead. And because you're a spiritual being, you can watch yourself as a detached observer. So as a spiritual being, as this being of light, I want you to look at your body. Look at any part of your body. Put your hands in front of you, your fingers in front of you. And I want you to look at it as a detached observer. And so this is what we will do. See yourself as light. See yourself as a spiritual being. And just watch any part of your body. Let's take these fingers. So watch these fingers. And talk to yourself. I am a soul. And this is my body. And these are my fingers. This is not me. They are mine, but it's not me. So My fingers are separate from the soul, and I am a soul. I am light. I am an eternal being. And this hand, this light, this fingers, it has a lifespan. This body has a lifespan. But I, the soul, am eternal. I'm immortal. And so it takes time, but it really is important to keep watching everything in the external world as a detached observer, right? So we first start with the body. That is the first step. You start with the body. Now let's do another thing about the body that we can watch, and that is our breath, right? Breathe in, and breath is very subtle, right? It's the life force. If you don't breathe, the body is not alive. So the soul and the body are like conjoined twins. They are together. They're separate, but they're together. And without breath, the body has no life. And so let's watch breath. So take a deep breath, release that breath, and watch. I am a soul. I am light. And I'm watching the body breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. I'm watching the body breathe. And I remember that I am a soul, pure consciousness, light energy. I'm an immortal being that is never born and will never die. The body has a lifespan, but the soul is immortal. Now, the second detached observer that we need to do is we need to watch our thoughts. And this is very important. So first is we watch the body, which is very obvious, right? It's very physical and it's obvious. Now let's start watching the thoughts. Because what happens is when you start observing the thoughts, then your thoughts really change. And so let's start observing the thoughts. How do you observe your thoughts? So first, I'm going to actually direct your thoughts to, I'll say a few words and I want you to visualize whatever I say, okay? And then I want you to watch that visualization. Observe yourself visualizing. So I'm going to say a few words. Pineapple. So visualize pineapple. And as a soul, you're thinking and visualizing pineapple. Beach. Visualize a beach. As a soul, you're visualizing and thinking of a beach. Now visualize a sunset on the beach. So you're watching yourself thinking about a sunset. Spouse. Just see yourself thinking about spouse. Just watch your thoughts. Don't judge. Don't start thinking about, oh, your spouse did this or that. Just observe. Child. Just observe whatever comes into your mind. Just you're watching You're not thinking it's good or bad. You're just watching. Now take a few deep breaths and let your thoughts go. And just continue to watch your thoughts. Just observe your thoughts. Don't stop to analyze them. Don't think it's good or bad. Just observe them. Just keep bringing back your attention to being a soul and observing your thoughts. Again, bring your attention back to being a spiritual light and observing your thoughts. All right. Now, the third step in observation or being a witness is we have to witness the dramas around us. We cannot get caught up in the drama around us. So we have to learn to be witnesses. We have to learn to be detached observers of the dramas around us. And so let's do that. Let's take a moment. And I want you to, almost like you're flying, but not too high, just about 10 feet up. Just go up with your consciousness, with your third eye, with your mind's eye, go up into a ceiling, and you take a scene where you were interacting with people. In the last 1 week, in the last 1 month, any scene where you were interacting with people, and I want you to watch that scene from up, 10 feet up. Don't get involved emotionally. Every time you want to come back down and get involved, just stay up there and keep watching. Watch it like you would watch a movie. See yourself in that movie as an actor. And everyone around you, they're all actors. They're all souls. You are a soul, they are a soul. You're immortal, they're immortal. You are eternal, they are eternal. And the other thing about souls, we are all, our original nature is love and peace. And so see everyone as souls who are love and peace. And just watch them, witness them. Whenever you try to get involved emotionally, or they did this or that, or this should happen or that should happen, just watch. And every time you want to get involved, just remind yourself, this is a movie, I'm watching a movie, and they're all actors, and their original qualities are love and peace. Om Shanti. So, before we go into the next part of how to maintain tranquility when there's a lot of turbulence around us, I want to ask if any of you have any questions.
Sister Shireen, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Um, when you say that detach yourself, but I think it comes with practice because it was such an intense thing to, just to detach and all those things. But it was a very eye opener for me. Especially, I had a scene which I was watching from the up. And when you said that, don't get involved, that was a very, thank you.
Yes. So what happens is we need to start, no? We need to start somewhere. And Rome wasn't built in a day. And so we need to understand that if I want to transition to the new normal, then these are the things I have to do. And these things are not going to happen that easily, but they're not that hard either. With practice, everything is possible. Okay, anyone
Thank
else?
you.
Anyone else wants to share anything?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Sometimes we have tried like before also, as we heard other sisters also, they also said like try to be detached with your family also. Like in the family sense, we take detachment as like unconditional acceptance, unconditional love, and unconditional respect. But sometimes if two people are fighting in the family and they ask you to involve it, it's so
Detached observer, I want you to try this. Don't get involved and watch as a detached observer. So we've tried everything, right? I want you to try this and see how it works. Enough times, okay? Try it for a month and see how it works. We've tried everything else. This is a new method. Remember, it's a new normal. What worked for us yesterday is not going to work for us today because it's different. Life is different. If it worked, we would have been fine. It would have been the same, but it's different.
okay. I'll give you one situation. Like, let's see, for example,
Every situation can be watched as a detached observer. There is no situation that cannot be watched as a detached observer. I just want you to try it. Because what happens is, I want you to remember that we can do this. I don't want you to give yourself this excuse, oh, but my situation is so difficult, I can't do it. I just want you to do it and try. Just try. Try it for a month. And after a month, you can have a talk with Shweta, right, Shweta? And, and then we'll go from there, okay? For a month, try it.
all right.
Okay, so next is tranquility during turbulence. So many of us are having, low grade turbulence. It's many of us might be a lot of turbulent things are going on, but some of us, like small turbulent things are going on. And so many of us, it could be big with health or job or things like that. With some of us, it could be just small things like, bad relationships and this is not working, that's not working, blah, 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 right? So this is turbulence, any kind of turbulence. So these are the three things that we need to remember, because even if it's not happening now, tomorrow, it might start happening. So we really need to prepare for a life of turbulence, because I'm not saying it's going to happen and, a gloom and doom and it's all going to go bust tomorrow, but we need to be prepared. Just like we take car insurance, it's not like we're expecting a car accident, but the reason we take car insurance is if it does happen, then we are covered. It's the same way with turbulence. You know the nature of the world is changing. You know what is happening. So we have to prepare for what is happening. And so the first thing about turbulence we have to remember is that we have to have a relationship with a higher power. So I will call this higher power God or Supreme Soul. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can say divine, you can say source, whatever. So whenever I say God or the Supreme Soul, if you're not comfortable with that, fill in with whatever. But I feel right now we need a connection with the higher power. And the reason why we need a connection with the higher power or God or the Supreme Soul is because in the Brahma Kumaris, our understanding is that the Supreme Soul is the ocean of love and the ocean of wisdom and the ocean of power. And so those three things every soul needs right now: love, wisdom, and power. And so for us in the Brahma Kumaris, our understanding is that we are all souls, we are spiritual beings, we are light. And the Supreme Soul is also a spiritual being, is also light. But there is one difference between the soul and the Supreme Soul. And the difference is that the soul comes into the cycle of birth and death, and the Supreme Soul is always beyond birth and death. So the Supreme Soul is always light, doesn't come into a physical costume, physical body, like labels like we do, but is always light. And because the Supreme Soul is always light, is always enlightened, and he's the ocean of love, the ocean of wisdom, and the ocean of power. And so when we say ocean, what that means is that the Supreme Soul is self-replenishing. And if the whole world, if he gives love to the whole world, still the ocean will not reduce. So let's say I decide I want to take 500 gallons of water from the ocean. Will that reduce? No. If someone else decides to take 500 gallons, will it reduce? No, the ocean is self-replenishing. And so the Supreme Soul is the ocean of love. That means that his love is pure, altruistic, and generous. And he is available to all of us as souls, not just me because I'm sitting here in a white sari, but he's available to every single soul. He never looks at our defects. He's always available to us, and we can connect with that ocean of love. So if he's there, he's always available, he's the ocean, how come I'm not connected? Is because we are identifying with the labels. So if I go around thinking I'm an Indian female, and then there is this beautiful light, I am blocking myself because I am restricting myself just to the physical world. If I become spiritual, I know, I realize who I am as a spiritual being, then I'm able to connect with the Supreme Soul. And so this connection, this exchange of love, and that exchange of love really comes from a pure heart. We just have to have a pure heart, and we have to connect, and that we will feel that love. We will feel that love pouring onto us without any kind of strings. It'll be like a waterfall pouring onto us. How much the Supreme Soul loves you, the soul, you will notice. But I can't do it for you. You have to become soul conscious. You have to become aware of yourself as a soul, and then you have to connect with the Supreme Soul. And with that love, there is wisdom, and with that wisdom, there is power. The power, this power is important because we all know what we have to do, but we don't have power sometimes. And the Supreme Soul gives us that power, to withstand what is happening, gives us the power to make transformation, gives us the power to be happy, gives us the power to be peaceful, all of those things. And so that is the second part of being a detached observer. And then the second part of turbulence. The first part of turbulence is the Supreme Soul. The second part of turbulence is that we have to understand that there is an intelligence with what is happening in the world. There's a wisdom with what is happening in the world. That whatever is happening is for my benefit. Whatever is happening is for your benefit. Whatever has happened is good. Whatever is happening is better. And whatever is going to happen is the best of all. And so we have to understand that there is this wisdom, there's this intelligence, and there's a divine plan. And this divine plan is playing out. And this divine plan is designed for my benefit, is designed for your benefit. You have to have that faith. Because all of us, when we look back on our lives, you will notice there's so many times that you were protected, that things happened for the best. Even though you didn't like what was happening at that point, now when you look back, you realize, yes, it did happen for my benefit. So everything happens for our benefit. So that is the second part of withstanding turbulence. We have to remember that whatever is happening is beneficial. And the third part is change is inevitable. I cannot stop change. It's like feeling bad for the weather, right? In Canada, it snows all the time, doesn't it? So can you, every time it snows, can you think, oh my God, because of me, it's snowing? Are you thinking that? Oh my God, because I didn't do something, it started snowing outside. No, it started snowing because the seasons happened, not because I did something or didn't do something. In the same way, the larger plan of what is happening, right, in the world, change is inevitable. Whether I do something or don't do something, it's going to change. It's just like feeling bad for the snow because it's snowing and I did something and it's snowing. That's ridiculous. And so, you know what is another thing is ridiculous is thinking that things will not change. It will change. Everything will change. And we have to accept change. We have to flow with the change. We have to adjust our mind. And adjusting our mind means we have to remember and we have to keep reminding ourselves change is going to happen. It is going to happen. I cannot prevent it. But whatever is going to happen is going to be for my benefit. And I have the Supreme Soul with me. And so when I remember these three things, then I will be able to have tranquility during turbulence. All right. So before I go on to reality, do you have any questions or comments? All right. No questions, no comments. Wonderful. So let's move on to reality. So when we are talking about reality, one of the things we have to understand is greed in the world has increased, tremendously increased, right? I'm sure it's not just me noticing, all of you have noticed, greed has increased. And because greed has increased, what has happened is, whether it's greed for power or greed for money or greed for whatever, what's happened is people are more and more twisting what is going on. So something happens and they'll just twist it around to tell you something else, right? And so, and that is just on a physical level. Just on a physical level, because of greed, people will give you a story that is not necessarily true. And so when you look at something, right, any situation, whether you look at, let's say, Canadian politics, whether you look at the United States politics, whether you look at Indian politics, whether you look at the coronavirus, whatever it is, right? We have to see the truth of a situation. But to be able to see the truth of a situation, the only way I can see reality of a situation, not the story that people are feeding me, but reality of a situation, the only way I will be able to do it is if I realize, if I reflect, realize, and reconnect with my own reality. Reflect, realize, and reconnect with my own reality. And that is spiritual reality. I'm not talking about physical reality. I'm not talking about physical illusion. You know, physical illusion is I have a hat and I show you, hey, there's empty, the hat is empty, but then I take a rabbit out of the hat, right? That's a physical illusion. How come the rabbit came out of the hat? But here I'm talking about spiritual illusion. Spiritual illusion means that what I think is going to give me happiness will actually give me sorrow. And what I think is painful might actually be for my benefit if I keep doing it. So for example, I'll give you an example. So let's say there's a thorn stuck in my arm, right? There's a thorn stuck in my arm, and I don't want to take the thorn out because I have to go through surgery and it's going to be painful. So I'll just keep tolerating whatever little pain is there, but I don't want to take the thorn out. It's infecting and it's doing everything, but I'm still afraid of the pain that is there, so I'm not going to do it. But if I go through that surgery to take that thorn out, even though it's painful, I need to do that because then the infection will stop and I'll start healing, right? And so what happens is, because of that small amount of pain, I'm refusing to see the long-term benefit that's going to happen. And so it's the same thing with spirituality. We are all very comfortable in our comfort zones, right? If I have comfortable in our comfort zones means if I have approached a situation a certain way all my life, right? I've approached a situation a certain way. I don't want to change that. Even though it's not working, I don't want to change it. And so reality is seeing what the situation is, seeing myself as a spiritual being, connecting with the Supreme Soul, and then really working myself as a spiritual being, working through this situation and taking a different approach, because it's coming out of your comfort zone. And so for reality, we really need to reflect. And in reflection, the simplest reflection I'm going to give you is, I am light, I am eternal, and I am a child of the Supreme Light. So when in doubt, right, in any situation, you start reflecting on this. and it will work. Eventually it will work. You have to keep seeing it. You have to keep feeling it. You have to keep understanding it. And then you have to mentally, without making any noise through the mouth, you have to keep chanting it. It's a soundless chant. And so what you do is any situation now, you can apply this to any situation in your life. Instead of reacting the way, getting upset, feeling bad, getting angry, whatever it is, I want you to go into that situation. So now see yourself in that situation and just start, see yourself as light. Feel yourself as light. Understand yourself as a being of light that is eternal. And feel that close connection with the Supreme Light. You are a child of the Supreme. You have rights to the Supreme Soul. See yourself as light, as an eternal being, as a child of the Supreme. So create that mantra in your head. So a few times when you're sitting in meditation, just chant that mantra. See yourself, feel yourself, and connect. I am light. I am eternal. I'm a child of the Supreme. That's the first thing we have to do to regain our reality, to move away from illusion. Because the biggest illusion that we are buying into is that the physical world is all there is. I am a body, and all my bodily relations, that's all there is. And so there is a lot of fear, there's a lot of all of that going around because of that. And the second part of reality is you realize that there is a grand epic movie going on. And this grand epic movie, all of the 7.5 billion souls are actors in this movie. And they have a part to play. Me saying something, not saying something, it's not going to change anything because they have a part to play. So I accept the movie and I accept that I have to be a hero in this movie. And to be a hero in this movie, I have to see everyone as a soul, and I have to give love and peace to everyone. That's all you need to do to be a hero in this movie. Give love and peace and see everyone as souls. So realize there is a movie going on. Realize yourself as an actor in this movie. And just give love and peace. Just give, 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 give. When you give, you will receive. And the last one is reconnect. So reconnect with your original qualities. So one of the things you have to realize is we are not just randomly children of the Supreme Soul, but just as your children have the same DNA, physical DNA as you do, we have the same spiritual DNA as the Supreme Soul. If the Supreme Soul is the ocean of love, then I am love. If the Supreme Soul is power, ocean of power, I am power. If the Supreme Soul is the ocean of wisdom, then I have wisdom. And so reconnect with these original qualities by reconnecting to the Supreme Soul. So we just have to remember to do this again and again and again. Remembrance, remembrance, remembrance. So every time you get deviated, every time you want to get sucked into a situation, every time you think, oh my God, is this real or what? Just ask yourself the question, who am I? And what I have to reconnect to. I am a soul, I'm a child of the Supreme Soul, and I have the same spiritual DNA as the Supreme Soul. Acha. Om Shanti. Any questions?
Thank you very much. It was very enlightening for me. I think you spoke with so much clarity. So I have all these steps in my head and I hope to follow them. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to give it a good try.
Thank you, Sister Shireen. My name is Rosita, and I reside in Toronto, Canada. Hello to everyone, all my brothers and sisters. I have a question on the turbulence section. And the comment that I've written down in my notes is, whatever is happening in the world, it's for our benefit. And it's a divine plan. And I believe I'm quoting exactly what you've said. So my question is, does that mean that our destinies are preordained?
Yes and no. Yes and no. If you look at the past, you have to think that was destiny. But if you look at the future, you have to understand your karma philosophy. You have to understand that whatever I do, I will reap the reward of it. So yes, if you're looking at the past, no, if you're looking at the future.
Thank you for that explanation.
Hi, sister. My name is Pooja. My question is how to increase our acceptance, because sometimes when we are under the turbulence or any turmoil happens, usually either we go into a guilt or we blame the other person and put them in a guilt. So so how to come out of that we both should have a win-win situation, like in any fights or any
First, don't worry about the other person. We have to think about ourselves now. Especially in spiritual terms, no, we have to really think about ourselves. Just like when you get on a flight and there's turbulence in the air and the oxygen mask falls, what do they say? Put the mask on yourself first before you put it on someone else. So the same situation here. And so that is the first thing. You worry about yourself, and then you start doing any of the spiritual exercises I gave you today, and it will work. Guarantee, money back guarantee.
Okay. Om Shanti. Thank you. Om Shanti.
All right. Shweta, what's next?
Thank you, Sister Shireen. On behalf of everyone, I would like to thank you for your wisdom and uplifting experience on the topic of transition to the new normal. I had lots of notes here, but the 3 points, they're going to be very beneficial for all of us, which is the touch observer, learn to be tranquil, and be real. Connect with reality. And out of all of them, I think for me, the most important is to be the touch observer. And the other one, in the turbulence times, how to connect and have a relationship with the ocean of love, with the Supreme Soul, with God, no matter however you want to call it. I think that is very important, and that will help us a lot to be connected, have a relationship with God, because He's the ocean of everything. So if we have that connection, everything will be fine, will be wonderful. So thank you very much for all your thoughts, your amazing talk. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you with us here in Toronto, Canada. And to everyone now, I would like to thank you for have the time and join us this evening. Our next stop and recharge will be on May 13. And our next program is going to be Chanti Cafe, which is in April, 2 weekends from now. It's going to be Chanti Cafe and World Meditation Hour from 5:30 to 7:30. So please join us for that too. And check our website for upcoming programs. Right now, we're going to say goodbye until next time with a beautiful song. You listen, that is an amazing, beautiful song. And when you listen that song, we're going to have our upcoming programs. So please have your camera and take note. Very important and beautiful program like this one in our coming weeks and months. So until then, thank you for joining us again and have a wonderful evening.